What's up guys, today we'll be reviewing the recently released Netflix live action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'll be going over the visuals, plot, characters, and a few other things. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get straight into it. Going over the visuals, most of the characters and creatures look really good and the environments they built are wonderful. That Netflix budget really goes crazy. However, when it comes to the fights, it's half and half, with some looking absolutely amazing and others like complete trash. The final fight at the North Pole with Aang is essentially becoming a kaiju, and is one of the most beautiful things I've seen on TV. Like, just look at this. And then compare that to this, where no one basically moves the entire time and the bending and choreography look atrocious. Overall, I'd say this is a visually stunning show, but there are just certain moments that have you thinking, really nigga? The essence of the plot is great, as it is the exact same as the amazing 2005 Nickelodeon cartoon. A world with elemental powers and an avatar that can wield all of them at once and tries to maintain peace is such a great concept. Add in the storyline of the Avatar being a young boy who's been gone for 100 years and the war that engulfs the entire world, and you really get a compelling base to your plot. While the overarching plot is great, because it's the same as the cartoon, all the little details are completely out of whack in this adaptation. They skip over so much content, like I'll literally give you a list right now. There's no trouble getting Appa to fly, no koi fish, no unagi, no Aang Avatar state versus Zuko on his ship, no Hall of Avatars, no pirates, and then no Zhao and Zuko Agni Kai. They also combine many events together in a weird mesh of different story arcs. It can be passable at some points, like in Omashu, where they combine Jet, the king of Omashu, the Northern Air Temple, and the Cave of Two Lost Lovers, but usually it falls flat, like with the visit to Roku's temple being combined with Ko the Face Stealer and the Lost Villagers in the Spirit World. Like, why the hell is Ko the Face Stealer even here? Moving on to the characters, Aang's character feels completely gutted and much more bland when compared to the show. Some major aspects of his journey were changed, like the fact that he left the Airbenders to clear his head in this iteration, instead of leaving because he couldn't deal with the responsibility. It makes his guilt feel way less justified because Lil Homie was basically just going on a walk in this version. He wasn't running away from his duty. He didn't know the Fire Nation was coming and his blood not allowed to clear his head. They also completely sucked the fun out of his soul. And while he still has moments where he's whimsical and silly, they basically got rid of every single side interaction he has in the story. Katara's actor is honestly not great at all and makes her feel generic as hell. They completely got rid of her developing a relationship with Aang, which got that entire aspect from her character. Additionally, she's not nearly as serious and as affected by her trauma as in the original show. I know that gets really explored in book 2 and 3, and this is only book 1, but her trauma with her mom is really only brought up when Ko appears as a hallucination and when she talks to Jet. Part of the reason I love Katara as a character is that despite being a waterbender, she burns with a certain fire because of her life experiences and her personality. All of this was just completely lost in translation with this actor. Sokka is not nearly as funny in the live action when compared to the cartoon, so that was a huge letdown. He's supposed to be the funny, cool boomerang guy, but we barely got to see him being funny, cool, or even using a boomerang. He's also not sexist now, which gets rid of one of the best arcs in the series, although Sokka x Suki is still absolutely adorable in the live action. Suki comes off so strong, and Sokka deadass tells this girl, "Someone needs to put a bell on you."
There's food in the village hall.
Besides the Suki stuff, Sokka really does fall flat, and most of the time you're wondering what value he's even adding. They hint to his strategic and creative ability a few times, like at Omashu and in the North, but it's just so underwhelming, and I get this is still book 1, and he has a lot more time to develop, but he's a straight up useless character in 90% of situations. And don't get me started on his heavily, in air quotes, relationship with Yue. They basically look at each other like twice and then just start making out. Moving on to our last major character, Zuko is probably the best thing this show has to offer by far. You see how deep down he wants to be a good person, but his upbringing and obsession with gaining his father's favor leads him to do many bad things. Zuko feels the most unique of any major character here and like a real person struggling with demons. There's so many scenes of him being mellow and really bonding with people, even the Avatar himself, and you can see the internal conflict all over his face. He's not supposed to be compassionate or show mercy, and he has to force himself not to. This all comes to a head in the final episode when Zuko believes the Fire Nation General Zhao has made it impossible for him to ever retrieve the Avatar and regain his honor. He's understandably pissed, and they fight with Zuko beating the shit out of Zhao. However, Zuko shows mercy and doesn't kill him. Zhao, however, takes advantage of this, and Zuko is almost taken out. Thankfully, the GOAT, Uncle Iroh, was nearby, and he quickly took Zhao out for him. As a quick little note, something they did really well with this character that wasn't in the original was his relationship with his crew. At first, all the crew really hated him because of how bad of a leader he is. However, when they realized that he's the only reason they weren't fed as cannon fodder to the Earth Kingdom troops, they begin to understand that he does care about him and give him the respect he deserves. Despite all its problems, there are little nuggets in this show that are satisfying for old fans, and maybe not completely regret watching it. For example, seeing the Airbenders fight the Fire Nation, and Sozin telling Gyatso that he might have prevailed if it was a different night, they really put some respect on Gyatso's name. Another thing I have to mention is literally every time Avatar Kyoshi shows up, it's perfect, and it really made me smile because they got her character down amazingly. I can also see that they attempt to add some extra context to the changes in events, like having a festival happen for Sozin's Comet so all the Airbenders are at the same temple, making them easier to attack. And I appreciate the effort even though it didn't turn out that great. I'll give this show a solid 6.5 out of 10 because it's still Avatar and it's much worse than the original, but still exponentially better than that horrendous movie. Comment down below your thoughts and I'll see you next time.